Hello everyone, Chris McCarthy here. Welcome back to my channel and to the Day 2 review for the first FIA Formula 3 post-season test, which took place over at Jerez in Spain, concluded today, the second and last day taking place today. Thank you to those of you who tuned in to the Day 1 review yesterday. Really appreciate all the support and your comments as well. Great to get your thoughts. This is going to be a slightly different format, as I mentioned in yesterday's video. Slightly longer video. This one is going to be a bit more of a condensed version and a bit of a different format as well. So just a few points to kick us off, shall we? No driver changes to report. All the teams had the exact same drivers for both days, which they reported going into the test. All the quickest times came today from every single driver. The morning session today is where all 30 drivers recorded their quickest time of the entire 2 days. So that gave us essentially our combined classification, which I'll go through the top 10 of in a second. Times were around just under half a second slower than what they were last year. Now, for those of you thinking, does this carry any substance in terms of next season? Well, 7 of the top 10 from last year's Jerez test went on to become race winners this season in Bortoleto, Colapinto, Goethe, Marti, Mini, O'Sullivan and Barnard. And Gabriele Bortoleto was actually quickest at last year's test. So I'd say it does carry a bit of substance. I'd say the top 10 I'm looking at right here on my sheet could be the drivers we're looking at fighting for wins and possibly the championship next season. So your top 10, and then I'm going to go into my 5 points to take away from the test and 5 drivers I felt that were missing from it as well, and I want to get your thoughts on that. So top 10 overall, I'll go through this fairly quickly because a lot of the names are familiar from yesterday. Quickest was Dino, Beganovic and Prema with a 129.9. He was closely followed by his Prema racing teammate Gabriele Mini. We spoke a bit about how those could be fighting very closely. So a Prema 1-2 today. Boya was in third place. Continued great form for Campos Racing, just half a tenth away from Dino Beganovic. Then out of the 129s into the 130s, fourth place Leonardo Fornaroli for Trident. In fifth place, Oliver Goethe. So familiar names up there in the top 5. P6, Martinius Stenshorne doing very well in Freca. He was up there in P6 for Hitech Pulse 8. Then we saw Taylor Barnard in 7th place for PHM Racing. 8th place was Luke Browning for Hitech Pulse 8. Has done very well in this test, as has Santiago Ramos. Has been a bit of a slow burner in terms of getting to grips with the car, but I'd say today he's shown that he really is up to speed with that car now. He was only 2/10 slower than Fornaroli and was in the top 10. And then we're rounded off by our F2 podium finisher, Zane Maloney, putting Carlin, who were last in the championship this year, 10th place for the test overall. So if his job was to get them up to speed and get some good data on the board, I'd say he has more than done that. So a credit to him and to the Rodin Carlin team. Okay, let's go into my 5 points to take away from day 2 of testing. First of all, Beganovic and Mini dominate for Prema and a great head-to-head. Well, I spoke about this just briefly in the results and yesterday as well. They're going to be teammates possibly going into next season. We've seen them fighting before in karting F4 and the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and I think those two in the same team could make a fantastic head-to-head battle. The pair today separated by just 0.03 of a second. There is really nothing to choose between them. Both champions with Prema, Beganovic winning the Freca title with them, Mini winning the Italian F4 title with them. That making for a really good head-to-head, and it's already started. Point number 2, no changes to the top 5. I spoke about how this test can carry some substance in terms of winners going into next season, and I think those 5 names I've read out are pretty big contenders for next year's title if they're to all go on and do it with their relative teams. So Beganovic, Mini, Boya, Fornaroli and Goethe, who back with Campos, who he of course made his debut with in F3 a couple of seasons ago, all remained in the top 5, showing great consistency. All those drivers carrying experience, of course, in Formula 3, so we do have to allow the other drivers like Stenshorne time to catch up in that experience. But nevertheless, 5 drivers there, all doing very, very good things, even if they've switched teams, and I'd say 5 drivers who could fight for the title next season. Stenshorne made his mark on day 2, point number 3. I mean, the FIA graduate, rookie points leader. He's got the record for the most rookie wins, 6th overall, and was quickest in the afternoon as well. So lived up to the hype, the Norwegian that many of us have been talking about. I mean, he came firing out the blocks in FIA this season for RHGP. He's done a superb job, and he was P6 and the quickest Hitech Pulse 8 driver, despite the fact he's got a more experienced Luke Browning alongside him. So very, very impressive from Martinius Stenshorne, who just seemed to get quicker and quicker as we went on. PHM Racing off and flying, point number 4. I mean, Taylor Barnard in what is effectively their first test as a solo outfit. He put them well in the top 10. P7 for them overall. I think they'll be very happy with that. They did struggle at times, it has to be said. Josh Dufek never really got going. Taz Inchafuvasak, getting up to speed still, but Taylor Barnard brings the experience and is definitely bringing some pace to that team already as well. So promising things, I think, for PHM Racing. And 6 different teams in the top 10 overall in the 2-day combined classification. The significant team missing for me was MP Motorsport, 3rd in the team's championship. We didn't quite see them in the top 10 overall. We didn't see ART, but they have had a really disappointing year this year. But they're still a big outfit, and they had the likes of Christian Mansell out there and Oliver Gray, who did a full season this year, and he had a disappointing test in terms of where he was in the 2-day combined classification. Did make a good start to proceedings though, but nevertheless, those 2 teams missing, but there are still 2 more tests to come. Top 15 was rounded out by Charlie Wirtz for Genza, Sami Megatuna for Trident, Ugo Ugachukwu, Arvid Lindblad came next, the 2 F4 graduates. Very, very impressive for me, and a shout out to Hadrian David, because he's not done a huge amount this year, and I was very impressed with him. Remaining drivers, Emo Fittipaldi for MP was 30th. Campos had Sebastian Montoya out in 21st. I think he'll be disappointed with that. Hitech Pulsate had Keane Shields, 26, new to the car, of course. Max Esterson getting back up to grips in 23rd. Mateus Agazeta learning the car in 25th. Sophia Flörsch and Noel Leon for Van Amersfoort were 18th and 19th. Tommy Smith, 28th. Then the ART drivers, Lawrence Van Hoop and Christian Mansell, 16th, 17th. Ollie Gray, as I mentioned, down in 29th. So things didn't quite go well for him in that quickest session, but he was fighting towards the top 15 in the other sessions. And then PHM Racing, as I did mention, Taz Inchafuvasak 24th, Josh Dufek 27th. Now I do want to end this video by giving 5 notable drivers I felt were missing, and I want yours in the comments below. I could have had a really long list here, so it was quite hard to condense this down to 5. 5 notable drivers I felt were missing. Firstly, Johnny Edgar, of course, ended the season as a race winner with MP Motorsport. Not too sure why he wasn't out there, but I hope that's not a sign that he won't be with us next year. Who knows, maybe he could be moving onwards and upwards, but I really hope we see him back again if that isn't the case. Nikita Bedrin, another one. I mean, Taylor Barnard's at PHM Racing. I thought Nikita would be doing the same thing. I hope there's space for him to do that. I really hope we see him in the championship. He did fantastic to get his podium over at Hungary, and got on the podium again at Spa. So I really hope we see Nikita back out there. Nicola Solov, another one. I mean, gained pace as the season went on. Alpine Junior, real shame not to see Nicola over there. A youngest driver on the grid last year, and I think did himself proud throughout the season. Rafael Camara, his name wasn't really mentioned by people online, but the Brazilian's been really fast in FIA this year, fighting for wins and podiums, and with Prema, and I was surprised we didn't see him out there actually. Maybe not room for him at Prema in some ways, but there certainly could have been room for him elsewhere. And then Kaz Havakurt was the other. I really feel we need to see him in this championship. I was surprised we didn't see him last year. Clearly things didn't work out for him, but I really hope Kaz is out there next year or in one of the remaining tests. But let me know yours. There was many more names I could have put out there. I did promise this was going to be a longer video, but with Formula 3, 30 drivers, so much more to talk about, and there will be when we go testing again, which is next week as I look at my calendar. Next Tuesday and Wednesday, they head over for their next test in Barcelona. I'm going to bring some more videos then. Daily reviews will be coming back. I'll continue them for Imola, and then I'll end all 3 tests with a big review, similar to this one, reviewing all 3 tests and going through some stats and facts for you. But thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you with the day 1 review next Tuesday when they go testing for Barcelona. Thank you for watching.